Hi everyone, it's Jaden. Welcome back to my channel where I share information on health, fitness, and just overall self-improvement and optimization. On today's video, I wanted to go ahead and share 3 of my really dark and scary experiences and symptoms that I had through my health crash. For those of you who don't know, I've experienced this major health crash that I labeled as adrenal fatigue, HPA axis, hormonal imbalance, anxiety disorder, panic attacks. I've done multiple videos and have plenty of playlists on the subject, so if you're interested, definitely check them out. And in the end, I realized it was just everything put together. Like, it was all those conditions I listed that were like wrapped up into one for me. Overall burnout, like health depletion, burnout of all systems, like mental, physical, and all that. I had hundreds of symptoms I've done tons of videos on, and it took 2 years to fully recover from this. So a lot of you have been following me, so you know my story. I don't need to go into too much detail, but recently, for 6 months now, I fully recovered, and here I am getting better and better every day, and no signs of regression. Now I feel like I am in a place where I can go back to these 3 particular times that were, I mean, almost completely broke me. And I haven't shared this until now just because I also didn't feel like I was like in a ready place where I want to revisit it, because it was just so awful and I don't like feeling awful. And now that I've healed for 6 months fully, totally recovered for 6 months, I don't have that fear of like it might, just revisiting this might cause anxiety to pull me back. So I'm just completely feeling normal now, so it wouldn't even do that to me now. So I feel ready to share and revisit those experiences. Just a little update, I am doing fantastic. My workouts, my fitness, my health, well-being overall is doing excellent. I am continue on my health hormonal optimization protocol and living a clean, healthy lifestyle the best I can consistently, and I'm doing really well. Really happy about that, and I just want you guys to know, those of you who are on your way, it is totally possible, definitely happened for me, and it will happen for you. I truly hope that for you. Again, disclaimer, I am not a doctor or a therapist. Please consult with your health professionals before you take on any health advice. I'm just here to share my experience and information that I've researched for myself, and I really encourage you to do the same, as well as check in with your doctor to, rule out any potential illnesses that you need to take a look at. I certainly did that at first. I know it's a slippery slope with the whole health anxiety, and that's very much part of this health crash. With health anxiety, we obsess over things. Get the confirmation from the doctor, but I don't recommend you to obsessively go and not believe the doctor and continue that. Check out the doctor, get your confirmation, and then you got to work on your true recovery. If they say you're fine, it's anxiety, it's hormones, it's just because you're depleted, your health is not balanced, then you know that you are safe and you can go on with taking healthy lifestyle, everything that I've shared in my tips videos and stuff like that. So we'll just jump right into my stories. I will start with the least scary one, and I'll save the worst nightmarish one for last. First one has to do with the trembling and shaking symptoms, which I get constant emails, messages, comments on all the time. Yes, it bothered me a lot too. The entire duration I had it, from the beginning of my health crash to the end of the first year, I've had this symptom. Comes and goes, intensity might change, the pattern changes. There's no rhyme or reason when it starts or when it's not. Like, sometimes, yes, you feel like you have a reason to have the symptom, and sometimes you don't feel like you have a reason and you will still have the symptoms. And that's actually very common with most of the symptoms. This is towards earlier on in my health recovery journey. Caught me off guard because I had come out of the initial crash, and I was in that phase where I'm thinking I'm well one day and then I'm not, and all that. And I've been having that shaking and trembling symptom, and I've kind of come to terms with it. Like, okay, I went to the doctor, it's not anything serious, it's just part of this process, this journey, so I will just, I guess, accept it and move on. That's what I decided. Well, a couple weeks into that, it took me by surprise, that because I would get the trembling and the shaking, the internal shaking that I talk about a lot in other videos, mainly my extremities. So like hands, arms, legs, feet. And that time was like the first time that it spread to like my neck, and then my face, my mouth, my eyelids, my nose, and then my freaking tongue. Came out of nowhere. I was not in anxiety mode. It was not like anticipated. It was just like I was pretty much like relaxing. I mean, I was still obviously recovering, but I was like relaxed mentally, and it just came out of nowhere. I started like shaking and trembling like on my neck, my traps, and then it like spread to my face, my lips, and then finally my tongue, tip of my nose too, and then my tongue. Like I couldn't stick my tongue out and hold it steady. As you all know who goes through health anxiety, which I was struggling with a lot in the beginning, tongue twitching is freaking like one of the major signs for like horrible diseases. I was like, what the, right? Like, okay, I can accept the regular trembling in my extremities because a lot of what you research says that that's pretty common for things that are not serious. But then when it spread to the face and the tongue and the lips, I thought, and the tongue, it almost just like, oh my God, I remember I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm like, what is this? It took me like a day or two to calm myself down because I had already just gone to see the doctor. I didn't have any of the neurological issues that I was like really afraid that I had. I was cleared. It was weird to go back to the doctor again. It was truly a test, I would say. It took everything in me to calm myself down, be super present, and not let my mind jump into a conclusion of like, oh, this is really bad. You thought it was just like anxiety and, you know, health crash, but it is definitely something like I just had to hold myself steady mentally and not let myself go down that road of obsession and eventually drive myself insane. Lasted about 3 or 4 days. I mean, I couldn't talk. Like if I talk, my whole face would be like I would just get these crazy twitches. 2-3 days later, just like all the other symptoms that freaks me out, it went away on its own as soon as I just kind of accepted it and moved on even though it was still happening, and just talk myself moment to moment out of the fact that like I was freaking the fuck out. And I just moved on and it went away. I remember a month later it happened again, not as severe, and it went away again. Because I just, you know, I said, no, I've already checked with the doctors. I'm not going to go down that route. And it went away again. That is the third one, the least of the 3 scariest that I've experienced. Now we'll move on to the second one. Okay, so the second one has to do with dizziness and weird eye symptoms. Like, so with the health crash, I had a lot of eye floaters, like spots I would see. My vision was just very fatigued and my eyes would be tired. I get dizzy. I always felt like I was off balance. It definitely freaked me out. Like, you know, playing sports and stuff, like balance is, you know, it's in the bag. Like it's not an issue ever. But because of the health crash, I became like one of those people that are, you know, it's like when I'm tying my shoes, I'm like, whoa, like tilting. This freaking scary thing was I saw a movie and I was coming out of the movie and there's like a long hallway out after you get out of the movie, and I started seeing those weird light spots, and that usually happens after I watch like a lot of bright light. So I thought, okay, here's the symptom of the eyes, and I got so dizzy I started to like sway to the right. Then I had to like catch myself on the side hallway. And I'm thinking, what the F is happening now? And this is way worse off balance, because all the other times I was off balance, it was just like, you know, I'm off balance, but I was on top of it. But this was like, no, I am gonna fall if I don't really like watch myself. Got myself to the car, got home. It wasn't really bad after that time, but again, the fear set in and I'm like, Okay, what's next? So again, I had already gone to see a doctor before that about any type of brain issues that I was like really afraid of. And again, cleared me of everything. I ran tests, nothing. What I realized in retrospect was that the movie was really long and I didn't eat like enough of the right foods before. And so I was low blood sugar and I had those light stimulations. So it was like double bad because I was going through the health crash. It was a lot to handle. So I started losing balance more. Again, after about 3 or 4 days, didn't freak out. Well, I freaked out, but I didn't act upon my freak out. It just gradually went away, and that never happened again. Yeah, and I feel fine. I mean, never ever happened again. The last one. This one's scary in a few different ways. It's scary in its symptom and the experience, but it's also kind of scary, like spooky scary. This has to do with the depersonalization and derealization part of the symptoms mixed with hallucination. Part of anxiety disorder, and if your hormones are off and if you have adrenal fatigue, which also means part of your hormone systems are off, it just affects you in a way where you start getting anxiety when you're not actually mentally causing anxiety. So you can cause anxiety, you know, mentally, or just you have a physical chemical imbalance and it's causing you to have anxiety. So either way, anxiety can cause you to very intense, great, like high amounts of anxiety disorder can cause you to have hallucinations and like depersonalization and derealization, which is like depersonalization, it's like you feel like you're not you. And the realization is more like you feel like people aren't real, like things around you aren't real, like you feel surreal. I've done 2 videos, I believe, on this, so definitely check those out if you don't know the details of this. I'm not going to go into too details of it because for the sake of this video, it's just more about these experiences. One night I was laying in bed. I think I was watching tennis or watching something on my laptop. And I saw a hallucination of my, like, okay, if those of you who play video games, if you've ever played those like POV where you're like, let's say you're James Bond or you're like a video, like you see out of the character that you're playing. So like you're like in a virtual reality world. I hallucinated and I saw like a screen, like in real life, not in the computer. Like I looked up and it looked like I was looking out of the screen with like if I was like Terminator and I would see like you know, computer words, like, but it was so real at the time. I knew I was hallucinating, but I was like, wow, this is happening. That's not the scary part. So the scary part was, you know, I knew I was hallucinating because I knew that was part of these health crash symptoms. But then I started getting this feeling of like, I'm not me and I'm just like in a video game. And this whole life that I have experienced is like I'm in the Matrix pretty much. Like and it was creepy because my conscious mind, my logical mind was like, Jaden, this is part of your health crash. Like, you know this, you've researched this, you know this is coming. But when you're in it, it feels so freaky. I right away ran to the mirror and I would look myself in the mirror. You just don't get that same feeling that you usually get when you look at yourself in the mirror. Like, oh, you're looking in a mirror. But like in that moment, when you're under that like weird anxiety caused symptom, you feel like it's like a game. Like you're not looking at your true self. You're looking at a character. Bizarre. That lasted the rest of the night. Like I was falling asleep feeling like I was my character falling asleep. Woke up in the morning, thank God it went away. I'm sure it's because my brain probably rebalanced while I slept. The anxiety probably neutralized. It came back a few times, not that severely, but yeah, those 3 incidences like pushed me to the edge. I almost was like, okay, I'm really losing my mind. I, can't deal with this anymore. However, I held on. 2 years later, I fully recovered. And all those 3 times, it was all like I would say in between phase 1, 2, and 3, like beginning of phase 3. Like I've said in many other videos, phase 1, 2, and 3 are tricky, challenging, tough phases. Each one of those can easily last like 3 to 4 months. And for me, all of them lasted like 4 months. And so, yeah, again, this video, I really mean for this video to be, I don't know how, but like an upliftment, because I'm so far from like that's just like, I look back and like, oh yeah, that happened to me in my life, and it doesn't feel like it's a part of my life anymore after I fully recovered. Check with your doctor first. But if it is anxiety, hormonal imbalance, if you screwed up your adrenals by chronically stressed, overtraining, just too much intense life going on, you can do this to yourself. I did. And it just takes time, a lot of patience. I have been talking and texting with a lot of you, and I know the hard part is when you're in it, that you feel, when you're in it, and you feel all that despair and the hardship, and it's just hard to like, also be an optimist. But I really just, again, want to encourage you guys to try. Just be optimistic. Do your things that you're supposed to, like check with the doctor, do your rest, eat well, and all that. But most of all, like, just be optimistic. Give yourself time. It does take time. And a lot of times when you're going through the first 3 phases, it can really trick you into thinking, okay, it's done. And then when you get a relapse, you get so impatient and so angry because you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to deal with this ever again. I know how it feels, guys. I promise you, I know how it feels. And I promise you, it does get better. It did for me, and I really hope and wish that for all you who are going through it. That is it. Those are my 3 darkest, freakiest moments. There were other countless challenging times, physical pain, discomfort. I couldn't count, and I've shared a lot of them. But those 3 scared me, and I am not scared easy mentally by stuff like this. But those were very touching, like rock bottom for me as far as like my ability to handle freaky and just crazy symptoms. I hope you found some benefit from this video. I look forward to seeing you guys in my next update. Have a great day or night, and I'll see you next time. Guys, I really hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and share my videos with others. That would really help me expand my audience. If you haven't subscribed, please click the subscribe button as well as the bell icon so you'll be notified whenever I upload new content. I now have PayPal Donate, so if you're interested in that and you want to support my channel, you can click on the link in my comment section as well as the upper right hand corner of my channel homepage. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. As always, remember, it's never too late to optimize yourself, and you can always start right now. Until next time, I'm Jaden Christopher, and I'm wishing you a thriving day. Bye.